Content disclaimer. For entertainment and commentary purposes, opinions are based on research and experience. Everything is alleged and based on publicly available information. Verify everything with a qualified professional. No harassment, doxing, or targeting of anyone mentioned. Also, I am not responsible for your feelings. Let's get into the video. Today we'll be talking about comedian Corey Holcomb. Now he has had a troubling past, just in general, and he's been acting up on these internet streets, so we're gonna talk about his. First, we're gonna talk about, him getting into the conflict with Anton Daniels, which was something is so bad. After that, we'll talk about what happened with the battery that he allegedly did. We gonna get into that one. That was, yeah. And then we're gonna get into his team dynamics, and I don't understand how people are still around him. I guess it's the money. It has to be. It has to be. Corey even went so far to piss off this very smart guy called the lead attorney. And the lead attorney, he got his ass. It's so bad. Yeah, so I'm gonna be talking about all of that, but I can't play everything, right? Because of copyright. So if you guys want to see more context, you guys want to, see the full video, things of that nature, you should be able to because I have the actual sources in my video. So feel free, do your own research, make your own conclusions.
Nobody. Yes, you are. You suck at black people right now.
So these two black gentlemen decided to collaborate. Anti was invited onto the show, and he brought Mika, which I believe is his panelist and not co-host, onto Corey's show. Corey didn't approve for her to actually be on the show. Anton allegedly tried to make her get on the show by bringing her. I think he set her and Corey up, but who knows? I don't know for sure. Thus, it's already starting off bad, and then it just went from bad to worse. Anti seems to be this Trump supporter, Christian Republican guy. This is not a political channel. Support whoever you want, that's your freedom, and deal with those consequences as well. During the making of this video, it has been brought to my attention that Anton has been in multiple oatmeal cream pies aside from his wife. Mind you, this is just a general consensus. No one has actual hard proof that he is cheating on his wife. However, he does brag about having multiple HOEs everywhere. One might be in his closet right now as we speak. I hope she gets plenty of snacks. From what I know of Corey, he portrays himself as a pro-black man, also as a player and some sort of gangster. I don't know what type of what type of gangster he is. I suppose you could allegedly be a gangster, a player, which negatively impacts your community that you live in. If those women are black, you shouldn't be doing that anyway. But you could also be pro-black. I suppose it's not mutually exclusive. My bad. By the way, I'm being sarcastic. So with this whole kerfuffle, these men were both being archetypes of this black male leader. One is a Christian Republican and or Trump supporter. Also in that, the intellectual, I have my nose in the air type of guy. Versus a pro-black gangster, I made it out, I had to eat cereal with no mark type of guy. As they fought, the heavens surely shook. They were essentially discussing what the black community should do better, what things need to change. Corey was more of like, hey, why don't you ever talk about white tea people? Why do you only focus on the black community, which is a fair criticism? And Anton, he just dodged it. He got out of it. But he wouldn't acknowledge that. He just kept talking about, slavery and how basically we're enslaving ourselves right now. And Corey just took the opposite approach. And with that, you get kaboom.
Get out the way. Let me tell you something, homie. Go.
I can already hear the comments now. Look, he defends women, right? In this instance, you could say that because he did get Darlene out of the way of something that could have turned violent. But in his past, that's not necessarily true. And yes, people can change, but I highly doubt it based on the various comments he has said about the female gender. Before I show those comments, I will go over something that he physically allegedly did to a woman.
Bodyguard, cause the nigga be done slapped the shit out your bitch.
Now, I find it very funny in a not funny way how he got all up in Anton's face but didn't swing on him. However, in LA, he punched, slapped, or muffed a woman comedian, a fellow comedian, in the face. Allegedly, allegedly, allegedly. Anton already said it once, so when Corey was like, "Oh, say it again," that was just a buffer, so Corey didn't really have to do anything. It was just giving Anton an out. Now, maybe Corey learned, hey, maybe I should have hit people in general. However, it's my belief. It's just because Anton was a man who could actually probably beat him up. Or at least give him a run for his money. I think they're like the same build. They're basically twins when you really look at them. And also, there was bodyguards around, so that maybe played a factor. However, based on what I've seen of Corey and on my research, I strongly believe he strongly dislikes women. I don't know if that's due to trauma. This isn't a video to psychoanalyze him. However, the things he says, the messaging he spouts, is very concerning. Allegedly, according to TMZ, in December 2024, Corey physically hit a woman in the face. Some people say it was a slap, some people say it's a punch, some people say it was a mush. Overall, according to TMZ, it was a jab to her face. After all of this, reportedly Corey got jumped by a bunch of guys for hitting a woman like this. We could debate in the comments if he deserved it, but just keep your hands to yourself. The exception is self-defense, but nowhere in my research did it say that she actually struck him. Christina, who is also a comedian, she filed a battery report with LAPD, but he was never arrested. It was likely due to a lack of evidence. I think the video just came out now and it wasn't available back then. In any case, he failed to get a temporary restraining order against her, likely due to a lack of evidence that she struck him. Now, this TMZ article is an updated article because they reported on it before. So they said that Corey claimed that she trash talked him, saying your mom's a B word, you your your D ain't snickerdoodling like it should snickerdoodle. So far, he hasn't reached out to TMZ, and allegedly he knew about the video because he mentioned it in court documents. I haven't verified that myself, but that's according to TMZ. According to California's legal code, a battery is any willful and unlawful use of force or violence upon the person of another. Also, according to this code, a battery is punishable by a fine not exceeding $2,000 or by imprisonment in a county jail not exceeding 6 months, or both. So, based on my research, what I could find from the California Code, the statute of limitations only allows a year from the date of that offense for him to be able to be charged. Also, it seems that they went to court and she didn't get anything for this, and I don't think he got punished either. I have provided a still of the video where Corey allegedly hits Christina in the face. You guys can go check it out for yourself for the full context of that. But from what I saw, she didn't actually hit him. She did put her finger in his face, but she didn't hit him. Based on my research, a joke is something said or done to provoke laughter, especially a brief oral narrative with a climactic, humorous twist. Meanwhile, a statement is something stated, such as a single declaration or remark, aka an assertion, or a report of facts or opinions. Now, the reason why I included these definitions into this video is so you guys have a framework to assess if what Corey says, which I will include shortly, is a statement or a joke or both. They are very disgusting comments, so I just wanted to see what you guys think. Is he joking or is he actually just saying something disguised as a joke?
She was in high school. I think she was 15. Still not legal. You just can't tell your true thoughts. Her daughter was gonna be thick like her mama. I know that much.
Yeah.
I knew her daughter was a bust down. She got pregnant.
In that clip, he called her a buzz down, so he called a teenage girl a buzz down, which is insinuating that she's fast, and that is very harmful PDF language. Yes, she's a teenager, but in my eyes, she is also a child. That is very disgusting. And then he says, "Hey, like you got to keep your true thoughts inside," which is categorically disgusting. I mean, it's insinuating that he's fantasizing or he knows it's wrong to say. But hey, he's still saying it in a covert way. Even though this video shows that he basically said it in plain English, there was nothing really covert about it. That speaks to the environment that he cultivated that would allow him to say something like this and not stop him immediately and tell him, hey, maybe you should, I don't know, shut the f up.
Bottle, as far as it'll go.
just sucking on him, walking with her mama up and put her in her lap and start bouncing with it. Then she stopped crying and was looking like this. I said, that's a whole.
In the previous clip, he was talking about a 5-year-old child. Before, he was talking about a 15-year-old, a 15 or 16-year-old. This is just so disturbing. Like, who thinks like this? With this previous clip, he's talking about a baby drinking a bottle, a baby crying, and that the baby needed to be, like she needs to sit on a leg, and be jumped up and down to calm her down. He's saying inherently that means that they're gonna be a slower, and that is so weird. Like, who thinks like that? It's not even, I'm gonna use a better word. It's not even weird. It is disturbing, disgusting, and disproportionate. It's like having a creepy uncle, and that uncle is creepy for a reason. It sets off your alarm bells because something is wrong and it is weird, no matter if it's a joke or not. A joke doesn't mean you just get a blanket pass to say or do whatever you want, even if that is your job. It is very disturbing to hear him say such rhetoric. I also wanted to mention, this kind of leads into Darvo. Now, I won't say these children are his victims. I have no proof of that. Just his rhetoric and the fact that he's saying that does lead into Darvo. Deny. Discredit the victim. Deny the abuse happened and claim you're making it up. 2. Attack. Attack the victim's credibility and character. You're crazy or lying. 3. Reverse victim and offender. Play the real victim and say, I'm the one being unfairly accused. With the fast rhetoric, it is discrediting the victim by saying or insinuating that they're fast and or a buzz down, which again is disgusting. I don't know how many times I had to say that. So yes, this may not be his victim, but he is, denying, he is attacking her in a way. And with the 15-year-old, he did say she got pregnant, but instead of investigating deeper into it, when he brings it on his podcast, he writes it off as, hey, I knew since she was basically a kid that this would happen because that's how she is. That's denying and attacking her. And again, with the 15-year-old, instead of saying, hey, maybe she has some trauma or she was actually preyed upon by an older man, and mind you, men and women can be predators, but we're talking about males. So instead of tackling a real issue, he just writes it off as, hey, these little girls, they just do that. These little fast, buzz down children, they do that. So he spouts this harmful rhetoric about any child of the female gender, which is beyond the pale. I'm so mad right now. It is just, I'm at a loss for words. And in case anybody is confused, the baby and the 15-year-old, I believe, are separate people. Whew, and finally that part is over. My blood pressure is still high and my hemoglobin is low after that. The next part is still just as bad, but just hearing him say that over and over again as I'm editing, I'm glad that part is over. Let's go on to the next section.
The vagina been on this planet 14 years. I've said this before on the show also. Do you know if a woman 16 years old gives you a baby, that is going to be 16, 17, 18, 19. That is going to be one of the healthiest babies possible.
According to the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, as you age, you are more likely to develop health conditions that can affect fertility. They also say a woman's peak reproductive years are between late teens and late 20s. By age 30, fertility, the ability to get pregnant, starts to decline. This decline happens faster once you reach your mid-30s. By 45, fertility has declined so much that getting pregnant naturally is unlikely. Now, it does say late teens, which is usually, based on my research, 17 to 19 years old. However, according to the World Health Organization, there are problems with teenagers getting pregnant. Adolescent mothers aged 10 to 19 years face a whole host of issues, including risk of eclampsia and systematic infection, among many other issues. Moreover, when compared with birth among women aged 20 and over, teenage pregnancies result in higher rates of neonatal and infant mortality, again, among many other issues. Also, I wanted to note, for healthy couples in their 20s and early 30s, around 1 in 4 women will get pregnant in any single menstrual cycle. By age 40, around 1 in 10 will get pregnant per menstrual cycle. And what Corey did not mention, a man's fertility also declines as he ages. Corey's take on teenage pregnancy was beyond the pale ignorant. What really puts the nail in the coffin is that he did not do any research from reputable sources like I did. Instead, he just got on the mic and spouted nonsense. He is objectifying 14-year-olds, teenagers, children as, hey, basically just vaginas. When men say things like this, when they say, oh, well, 14-year-olds, that'll give me a healthy baby. And to be fair, he did say in another clip, like, oh, like teenagers to 26 years old. But when you blatantly say things like that, like, oh, a 14-year-old, I don't think there's any way you could just come back from that by clarifying later. It seemed throughout the clip he was just, maybe he was reacting to how everybody looked at him, so he raised the age. However, he said what he said. And Corey is known to stand on business, so I'm gonna stand on business too. Again, when men say things like this, like, oh, a 14-year-old, I mean, it just begs the question, would they go even lower than that if, quote unquote, it would give them what they believe is a healthy child? And mind you, they're not even factoring in that a child is having a child. They're just thinking, oh, well, fertility, but it's just a disingenuous argument because they don't even do the research to make sure that's actually true. They do it on purpose so they don't have to look at the negative effects, so they could just spout PDF rhetoric. And this is PDF rhetoric. Whether he intended it to be or not, a joke isn't always a joke, and I'm not buying it. Thus, in my eyes, this is just a route for power and control over the female body by going after younger girls. Now, I'm not saying that Corey is actively going after younger girls or children of any matter. However, this rhetoric and him saying that does not bode well for his reputation. In my view, the best age to have a child is, your late 20s. Because women have plenty of time. Like, there's no need to rush. No need to rush. And it's actually when you're actually ready to actually have a kid. Do you have a 529 savings plan? It's basically a fund so you can send your kid to college. It's also known as a qualified tuition plan. The longer you let the money grow, the greater tax benefit that you will get. And it's up to, according to my research, about $10,000 per beneficiary. And this is according to investor.gov. Do you have a good family structure? Do you have, parents who will help you watch the baby while you work or go to school? Do you have a man who's actually a father, a man of character who will take care of the child? Teenagers rarely have this. Even if they have some aspects of it, it is not ideal for a teenager and or a child to be having children, no matter if their fertility was the highest fertility that ever fertilitied. Now, you can determine if he's joking or not, but I don't think comedians just get a free pass to say whatever they want, even if they use a joking tone. And I just think that was a statement disguised as a joke. And just because people laugh in the background at a statement that somebody says, does that make it a joke? Whew, I'm glad all that's over. Well, now let's get into some messy stuff with him and his team members and also with the lead attorney. Essentially, Corey and Darlene, I believe Darlene is his co-host, got into it because with his beef with Anton Daniels, Corey allegedly made this shirt that was racist, I believe, and Darlene refused to hold it up. So Corey was like, okay, well, I'll just find somebody else. So he kind of snapped on her.
You gonna hold it up, D?
No, you can't. That's all you, brother.
Oh, you ain't gonna hold it up?
Well,
You ain't fucking with a nigga, D?
Wow, look at this one.
No, I'll get somebody to hold it up.
After that, Darlene allegedly wasn't on the show. But she, don't worry about it, but she did come back. She basically came back after she ran interference, like did a little bit of damage control for Corey, which was odd. I really think she's only staying there because maybe that's the only job she can get because of who she's associated with, which is Corey, especially with everything that's come out about what he said.
Something called misplaced or displaced anger. This is when someone is genuinely angry or hurt about something or someone, but instead of directing that anger at the real source, they unconsciously aim it somewhere safer, easier, or less risky. For example, right? Someone might feel powerless, rejected, or disrespected by a boss or coworker, a partner, children, or even life itself. But they don't feel safe expressing that anger there, so it leaks out all over the place toward loved ones, strangers, or even themselves.
So yeah, in my opinion, that was her basically doing damage control. I think really for Corey and also for herself, so she could also go back and just saying, "Oh well, he's just so stressed out, so he just took it out on me." I'm not really taking it personally. So yeah, that's just her excuse, so she could stay on the show and get that bread. The last time I checked, which was February 17th, 2026, she's still on the show. So I guess it worked. I guess she appeased him. With Corey and his team, I'm still giving them a little smoke because yes, that is your boss, but you also choose who you work for. So if you want to work for somebody who says things of that nature, as discussed earlier in the video, then I have to question your morals or your values. I could even understand being in shock, and maybe they discussed it on the back end, like the first few times you heard him say something suspect like that. But instead, I just highly doubt that's the case because you're still there. And he keeps saying things like that. Like with the clips I showed, they show him in different outfits, in different haircuts. It seems like it was over the years, or at least over a few months, I suppose. So it's just very questionable why they're still there, unless it's probably just for the bag. Yeah, and the smoke isn't just for Darlene, it's also for all the men who sat there just basically if you're silent with things like that and you don't speak up within that moment, or let's even say the back end, then you're a part of the problem. Especially if you stay. Now I don't know what they did on the back end, but again, he said all that and they're still there. I could get the first couple times like I said before. But after that you gotta dip. As a woman, for Darlene to sit up there, it's not a good look at all. I don't really care what her career ambitions are, the money like that, but yeah, it's disturbing. And that's how like people like him operate. They have an environment in which people just let things slide like that. And therefore it's going to perpetuate those type of thoughts and that type of thinking into the wider world, especially because he has a podcast. It's basically saying, "Well, oh, hey, it's okay." Now, with the lead attorney situation, apparently the lead attorney reached out to collaborate or basically to interview Corey's lawyer, and that's Corey's lawyer for the Christina case, in which it is alleged that he did battery onto Christina, as we discussed earlier in the video. Safe to say that it fell through. Apparently, the lawyer didn't show up. The lead thought he would. And Corey got on camera and said, "Oh, well, the lead attorney, he thinks like he could just be my lawyer and things of that nature." Basically, kinda defaming the lead attorney to some degree. And the lead attorney responded. Now, you guys can go see the video for yourself, but essentially, the lead attorney just shows receipts that, hey, your lawyer told me that he wanted to meet. And I suppose, according to the lead attorney, a lawyer is supposed to run that by their client before they go meet with anybody else, especially if they're doing an interview. Overall, my opinion on Corey is that he's just he's allegedly not a good guy. I just don't understand why he would say all that if he did not mean it. I understand that people joke and there's jokes and jokes and jokes, but when does that not become an excuse? Like at first it could be an explanation, but now it's just turning into excuses. And he's not the only comedian who has said things like this. I might do a video on another one that just said something crazy recently. But again, I'm just not giving out free passes because oh, this is his career. You just because that's your career, you have to have safeguards in place and you have to watch your mouth. And I'm stuttering because I'm still mad about it. That's why my speech is a little messed up. In summary, I think the core problem of Corey Holcomb is himself. It's him just thinking he's untouchable. And a lot of people, when they make it, when they get all this money, brand deals, what have you, or have their own show or podcast, they think, hey, I can say whatever I want and I can do whatever I want basically because I have enough clout and connections to do so. So this will continue to be a problem for him. And whatever joke that he was trying to joke about, maybe he needs to call Dave Chappelle because that did not land at all. To me, I'm just taking him fully seriously. Other people, you guys don't have to, but that's just my opinion. Comment, like, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff.